Hello everyone. I have created this Python program that solves a three-body problem subjected to various initial conditions. This is inherently a nonlinear problem, which means that even a small changes in initial conditions can lead to chaotic behavior of the system. This program basically runs it runs on Python. So while running, it creates a UI dropdown which has several options through which you can choose various initial conditions uh, for which these equations are solved. So I have given them some names just for fun. So one is like survive. So in this, the system will remain in quasi equilibrium. In other cases, one case is implode, in which all those all these three bodies will collide with each other. The next case is explode, in which all these bodies will leave each other's orbit forever and never meet again. Then I have added one more case, that is amaze me. So every time you run it, the initial conditions are randomly generated, and initial conditions are randomly generated, and the system, the equations are solved, and we see the simulation. The purpose of this is to understand that how small changes in initial conditions can lead to a very chaotic behavior. So for example, if we talk about our earth system and the models mimicking our earth system, so this is a very chaotic system. So in this system, when we tend for prediction, whether it is for NWP, whether it is for sub-seasonal to seasonal predictions, or even larger scale predictions, the initial conditions play a very important role. These models consist of various components. They interact with one another through a coupler. So I mean, I'll not go into too much detail of that, but this is a simpler way to understand that how these small changes in initial conditions can lead to a very chaotic outcome. Mm, uh, so I mean, and mimicking the importance of initial conditions for such systems, and boundary conditions as well. But for this system, only initial conditions are relevant. So yeah, so we'll start with the code, with running a code. So I'll simply go, yeah. So it's a Python based code, so I'll be running it this way. So it will create a drop down. Okay, it's not here. Sorry. So basically, it will be in, mm, yeah, it's here. So we'll run it. As you can see, it has created a drop down. So in this drop down, as I discussed, there are many options. Another option is custom initial conditions. If you want to play around with the specific initial conditions that you have in mind, so you can also play around with it. So it would require the position of these two bodies. So you can give it something from +1 to -1, and the velocities, that also you can give from +1 to -1. So we'll start with a I'm saying simpler, but it's not a simpler case. So out of many initial conditions, this is the one where system remains in quasi equilibrium. So let's see. So in quasi-equilibrium, the system makes infinity or a line 8. So uh, these boundary conditions were proposed by Montegamari. So this is famously known as Montegamari's 8. So I mean, no matter for how long this simulation runs, uh, uh, this will, this will loop within this 8 position, and all these planets will follow this path and will always keep binded in each other's gravitational field. So we'll look at other options. So for example, I said explode. In explode, they should simply move away from one another. And the initial conditions used to, make this case has been given here at the, you know, left side of the plot panel. Then we have this implode case. So there are many cases where we can find this imploding behavior from, all these from all the three bodies, but in many cases we will see that in many randomly generated cases, we will see that two bodies will collide with one another, and they will simply move away, and will the remaining bodies will never meet. So that so now we'll go to some randomly generated initial condition and see how the system behavior changes. As I have mentioned, we can see the initial conditions used to for this simulations are listed here. So in this case, they imploded right after. We'll look at a few more cases. Again imploded. In this case, it seems that these two will implode. Yeah, and since this is also an implode case, yeah, in this case is actually this seems more interesting than the last two or three amaze me cases. These two seems to be going to collide. Yeah, okay, and then the remaining two will never collide, it seems. Yeah, one last case. Sometimes it's really interesting to see these paths. However, right now we see most of the cases of implode. This also imploded. Now this case of custom. So if we don't give anything, if we don't give anything, this will automatically take the amaze me case, and it will produce the initial conditions on its own. But let's say for now we give it the conditions, some conditions, just to see. So I have listed out a few. I'm going to give it here. So it's 0.97, then minus 0.2431, then 0.9290, minus 0.7174. Next case, minus 0.97, 0.2431, mm, then 0.0879, 0.2413, then the last case 0, 0, minus 0.4412, minus 0.3530. We'll run this case and we'll see how it goes. This case is somewhat interesting than other amaze me cases. But of course, if you keep on hitting amaze me, you'll find some cases much more interesting than others. You'll see more dynamics going through, more seesaw kind of behavior where they'll appear to be, you know, colliding to one another, but uh, actually they will not. To give the realistic view, I have simply uh, I have uh, made these objects look like planets, so it will be much more interesting to see. If you can see those glitterings, in the background, they kind of, mimic the stars in the sky. Yeah. So this is all from my side. Thank you.